damn it, I fucked up again.
Oh my word.
Sound
Look,
injection.
It's been a shitty ass day, so hopefully it's gonna get better now a little bit. Out of all the technical difficulties we've had all fucking day. All right. So everybody's been really super excited about fucking Saving Vice coming on here. This is I've been following your band for probably several years. And
Mhm.
Okay.
I think I first heard about your name. I was at a festival several years ago that I was helping out with called Metal in the Mountains in somewhere in West Virginia, I think. Pipestem, West Virginia.
Okay,
And
it's cool to see our name uttered down there. That's cool. That's a
yeah,
good
so I heard several other bands talking about this band Saving Vice. And so I went and looked it up. I was like, holy shit, this fucking band is fucking badass.
I'll
And
take it. Thank you.
I definitely feel like you guys have not gotten the push that you fucking deserve by any means.
If I had a nickel for every time someone has told me that since 2018, I could buy us a bus. So I appreciate it every time someone says it. For all the people asking why, like, because I'm like, why have you guys blown up? Like, the man, I don't know, dude. Like, it's I think it's because we're like a DIY band that like has kind of done too much independently to be. There really isn't a lot someone can get out of us to take advantage of us because we're the only things we need are things that only people who would want to make us sacrifice things we don't want to sacrifice to get what we need out of them. Does that make sense? Like,
Right.
We'd rather struggle longer to just keep everything in house and keep all the money that we've earned and made than sacrifice all that to get that one little push of like, oh, now you get to just be in all of these feeds and all these streams automatically without any effort, and you get to get all these tours. Like, I think I'd rather work my way up to it and then still be able to have like my house and my wife when I come home. So it's like that's I felt like was a big thing for us. But I don't mean to go on that tangent, but I do genuinely feel like we've written songs about it. It just felt like we thought we did all the right things for so long, and we were constantly either skipped over or had things denied to us. But I started to kind of realize as I learned more about the industry that like the more self-sufficient you are, and and I'll shout out IC Stars because I wouldn't even be able to brag, and I brag about this all the time, but they taught us this stuff. So like we were just hanging out with IC Stars in like 2019, I think, at a festival of I Matter Fest when we played with them on our RV, and they were teaching us all this stuff about like how to collect your royalties and how to set stuff up financially so you can be independent and all this cool stuff. And we finally implemented it, and we kind of realized that like so many bands don't even realize all these avenues that create money with their music that they're not receiving at all.
Wow.
Like,
Right.
it's like, so we set it up. So we essentially at this point with our team and everything we've done, we're basically our own label now. We've just got signed with management with Orchard Distribution, who does like The Weeknd and 21 Savage and BTS. And like, we just kind of found over time, finally found people who appreciated what we had to offer without having to take something from us first. Like our new manager, Haristo at UAC, like it's like been like a dad to us. Like, it's just like he's in the UK, but he's so communicative and he's so supportive, and like he always like has a good attitude and like really believes in us, and like picked us out of like the crowd and was finally validating things that we had started to doubt about ourselves after all these years of feeling like we're just about to pop. We're just about to pop, just about to pop. And we finally have this dude for this reputable, place who doesn't want anything from us, but just wanted to work with us directly. Like, he didn't even want to give us to another person in the agency. Like, he was like, no, like, I want to personally monitor this. And it was like,
Mine.
we had been through so much. We had been through so much in the past couple of years that like I think all of us were like never giving up, but inside we're starting to like we're all in this like I didn't hear no bell mode. Like we're waiting for like the next round, and then we have this dude come along and be like, I think that this is exactly what you think it is, and that we always thought it was, and I'm gonna help you guys get there, and I believe that you'll get there. And he's been like the best, and I don't know, like it's been great. And like I'm not saying we've had bad experiences. We've only really had one other real manager, but I've met enough bands with bad managers to feel like I've had bad managers, you know what I mean?
Right.
Oh, I know a good one, right? But
So,
I'm ADHD, so I'm gonna go on rants like that, but I apologize.
I know you're good because I have a question for you that plays into it.
Yeah.
With your
Do you
people.
feel like bands that try to do it DIY, do you feel like they get punished in the industry? Because I definitely do.
I think to some degree I've been out of the not out of the game, but like not paying attention enough to if there have been changes since you got to understand I kind of like broke off from the band and kind of just was like fuck music, I just hate the scene, I'm sick of all the people and their shit and like the drama and just walking on eggshells every day, constantly worrying about someone trying to stab you in the back, and just walked away from it and just took like martial arts and played with my cats for a year. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like I kind of just like I stopped caring. Like in now it's gotten to a point where now the band we're all like it's like peeling our fingernails off to get us to like check social media, when I used to be like glued to it, like, oh, what are people commenting, what are my streams, what are this, what are that, like making me mentally ill caring about all this shit. And like walking away and coming back, I obviously still realize that I have at least skill enough to be relevant and still do what we're doing. But from being someone who is so on the pulse of everything going on, I've kind of had to re-look because I kind of stopped caring about what bands were doing in the scene, in the metal scene. I kind of just, it's like almost like I just started hating music. It was like I listened to no music in the car for like a year because I had so much like bad taste in my mouth from just social experiences and like people just, it's like the better you do, the more people come after you. And I questioned if I even wanted to be ever like, what if we did blow up? Do I even want that? Do I even want a bigger target? Like, you know what I mean? I started to question, and one day I realized I was like, wait a minute. You've wanted this your entire fucking life, your entire adult life. How are you gonna let like a bunch of losers who can't do it be the reason you stop? And that was kind of how I came back to writing the new album that we dropped last year. But it was but coming back to it to come to a point is like you're gonna ask me questions, and there is some stuff where I honestly I don't like giving my opinion, unlike some people, on shit I'm not educated on. So I don't really know if DIY bands are having a better time right now, but I know that we were punished for it for sure. Cause it was like anytime someone who wants to be in a position of power in this industry, even if it's like not even like maniacal or malicious, but like that promoter that is the biggest guy in his pond in his local town, and that everyone needs to know him and ever to get on a show, and like he wields it because he knows it. He knows he has that power to get you on the show, and like that the politics and that kind of stuff. Like anything from that onward, it's like it's a whole thing to it that like it sours your like you start to, because at the end of the day I think I can speak for most bands where unless you just solely are in it just for the recording and the making of the music, but like for me and our band, obviously that's like the soul of the band, but we wouldn't be even doing this if it wasn't to perform live and play shows and do stuff.
Right.
So it's like if that's not going to be a possibility or is going to be withheld from you, like you start to question whether you should keep trying or if you should just not let go, like, and sink your teeth in. So it's like a long way to say, I don't know. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I know that like anyone who's still struggling probably feels the same way. And I know that if it is changing, hopefully they're finding people like our manager. Like I know more and more bigger bands are separating from labels, and going independent. And it's funny because our agent, Michael Hayes, who's the vocalist of the band Fight From Within that we were on tour with,
We know Fight from Within. We just had them on last season.
I have no doubt. Yeah, so they're the most fun we've ever had on tour. But like, I don't want to get on. I will go on a tangent, so I got to stay on the rails. But he is our agent through Prism, and I'm like losing my train of thought now because now I'm just thinking about Fight for Within stories. Well, what were we talking about? Somebody before I start bringing up alcohol stories, bring me back.
Oh no! Hey, go right into alcohol stories.
No, I can't. No, but I genuinely wanted to like shout out. But Michael, he said, DIY doesn't exist, and I like got mad at him one time, but he didn't mean what I thought he meant. It is true. Like, you will always need to network and build a team and partner up with other artists and people. Like, if there's anything we learned over the years was the bartering system. Like, hey, we'll like produce like Robbie, like I'll produce a song for you. You do this. Like, it's like we did a feature, you get us this billboard, whatever. And like, when you don't have thousands of dollars to throw at stuff, everyone in your band better be talented. That's all I can say. Like, you better have a skill you can offer up to the band or the scene or something if you don't want to work a full-time job that has nothing to do with music, right? You got to have a skill that complements bands, artists, shows, or something if you want to be able to kind of walk the edge, right? And that's the secret, I think, to the DIY thing. But then you have to work with other people who are doing DIY stuff, but they're doing other angles of it. Like, here's a guy who wants to make shirts. No one's working with him, but he can do it for a really good price and he really cares about it, but no one's working with him. He doesn't have a big name. That's who Saving Vice goes for. That's who we look for to work with, is that dude, like, who was us. Whereas, like, we have all the pieces, but we didn't do, it's like, we don't have, they want 17 years of experience before we get the first job on the resume, right? It's like, it's the same thing in the music industry. You have to really prove yourself to get a chance. And the more self-sufficient you are and the less people can keep you under their thumb, you'll have to play politics, and that we kind of had to learn to play hardball. We were too nice in the beginning, and it's like, this is a whole conversation, right? Yeah. So, but with the DIY thing though, it's just like, it's like it's crazy now to think that, like, the band officially launched in 2018. I kind of joined in 2017. We were doing like garage shows, as I call them, like when no one thought the band was going to do anything. Shows 2018 we were playing Warped Tour. It was like, so that was kind of where I was like, oh fuck, maybe we should do this. But it's like every year we thought we had all the things, because it's like we would make a list of like, what are the biggest bands have? So we have like our production, our stage presence, we look good, our logo's good, we put the time and money, we did videos for every song, everyone loves us, we sell tickets. What events? What's the one thing we don't have that signed bands have? We got that thing. What's the other thing? We got that thing. We had the infrastructure. We know more about music in the industry than a lot of bands I've met on labels, because the labels know everything because they take all the money. So it's like, it's crazy to think that, like, why in our brain we're like, why is this not working? Like, we have everything on paper, but well, yeah, we have everything. So like, no one can give us anything. They can't get anything out of us without taking all that stuff we already have. It's kind of the quandary that we've been in. And, we finally now have a team where it's like, no one's making money if no one's making money. And we're kind of relaunching this year, right? And with everything we know, and we're going back to our roots on some stuff. Like, a lot of bands, and I'm not saying we get this a lot, but I think every band in their local scene will get it. It might be like, oh, they thought they were too big or they were too cool. But like, you have to make lines in the sand in this industry so you don't get taken advantage of or get pushed back, because once people perceive you as a local band or this band or a mid-tier band, it's so hard. It takes a drastic move on the needle to move you out of that perception. And there becomes options you can't take, where maybe everyone would be like, yeah, I'd love to play my homie's garage, but like, you can't fucking do that if you want to end up on Octane. Right? Like, so it's stuff like, you have to make those those conversations can cause a lot of for people who don't have any idea how shit works, they take everything personally. So
Right.
that, you know, that's been a lesson too. So, and there's been, I think, some elements where we're like, well, I think there's a middle ground where like our first show back that we're doing this year, it wasn't about getting like all these big bands that we've toured with to come do this big super show with like this crazy lineup. It was like what we've always done is like Vermont has like a dwindling scene. Venues are closing all the time. We almost have nothing left. And we had this Stone Church show on our last tour that was great. So we were like, well, let's just, do this show here. It's a hometown show, and like, get bands just from the area. Like, I don't, if they like, I don't care if they're huge, this, that, whatever. If they're gonna like bring people out to like hang out and come to the show, and they have a thing for the, if they're gonna just pull their weight and do what bands are supposed to do and make it a fun night, like, right? So we got a lineup, and then we're kind of leaving the opener up in the air to see kind of, because we couldn't decide, you know what I mean? It's like, it's hard because you want to give like the opening slot to like your favorite homie, but you also want to make it practical or give someone a chance. Like we were, when we were a band like us, when we started out, we were just like, you'll open any show.
Yeah.
If a band is like been on tour and they're playing a show, you're like, that's like a huge step. It feels so huge, when you start out, when you're playing with a touring band that you've seen people talk about or whatever, even if it's like someone like us, who's not the biggest band ever by any means, So, yeah, like I would say like that's a long evolution of the ADHD explanation, but this is what you get for like you're just what you get for doing an interview after my Adderall is worn off throughout the day.
No.
You're good.
It's all good. We love the
There's
stories.
no one to funnel the audio book, the human audio book right now.
All right, Meg, you're up.
All right. So we're talking about shows. So I'm gonna ask.
Let's go.
I know you got a lot. Have you ever had a show just go completely sideways? Just like, I know. Of course you have, but like, what's the most shitty thing that has happened that you've been able to recover? Like, it still ended up being awesome. Maybe not exactly as you planned, but it still ended up being like badass.
Oh, thank God, because I really didn't want to tell the stories of the one that didn't recover. So
yeah, no. give us some.
I want to know those.
No, eat shit. It's not happening.
we can talk about it after the show.
Let me think. No, there's like some shit that just like it stays in Vegas, so to speak. Like there's kind of some shit. It's like, it's like you went out, you did the tour, you went to war, you come home, you leave that shit out there. Shit happens.
We never talk about this.
Like, yeah, like
again,
shit
everyone
happens.
signs
like,
an NDA.
Everyone was cold in a tent. We don't like that. It's like whatever. I'm kidding. But you know what I'm saying. It's just like, it's more like it just reminds us of like anxiety of like gear breaking on stage, that kind of shit. I'm making it seem bigger than it is. But I'll just, for the record, I'll just say it like in a nutshell for everyone who's curious. We did have this show. It was like the night we were going to ask Sammy, our drummer, to join the band officially. We played a show and our click track was routed wrong and came through the PA during the show. It was with like Currents, Born of Osiris, and like these huge bands. It was a total fucking, and it was just, everyone was like, I thought we were gonna break up. We were all so mad and fighting about it. It was just, and then we're like, Sam, you want to join? He's like, yeah. Like, but that's the condensed story. It was actually a horrible night, but I feel like we say this all the time. Our best stories are the worst nights of our lives. Like, it's like, that's just how it goes. I mean, it's like, no one has any war stories where they're like, yeah, I sat in my tower and like no one was around. I have to shoot anybody, and I just like jerked it and played tic-tac-toe. Like, no one's telling us.
It was a good night.
They want to hear like, it was, you see these hands protected your rights. Like, that's the story you want to hear, right? So it's like, it's just, that one though is just like sad. Like, it's not a war story. So, okay, but yeah, no, I'm trying to think of what this whole time I've been trying to just cover for me trying to think of when we've recovered. Right. Oh, okay, here we go. Ironic. I think this was the first year we played iMatter Festival in New York. But this is when we learned about wireless interference. So we used wireless mics all around. They don't look as cool, but they are all around 1,000 times more practical. I've had my Shure like mic since 2017.
Yeah.
I've used it every show of my life and I still have it. So it's you don't get tangled up, you don't trip, you can run in the crowd, you can go fight people, you can leave the venue. It's dope. Like I like to I'm not a person who likes roots. Like so cables are not my friend. So I love the wireless mics, but so we're about to go on. This is like this huge festival. It's got the TV screens. There's like, in the thousands people, right? And we're getting ready to come out. Davey Muse, previously Havana, we were on tour with him at the time with his band Trove. He was announcing us, and my mic just like doesn't work. Like it's just like so like we're about to go out and like the sound guy is literally like in our thing, like unplugging shit and replugging shit in, and we're trying to find just something to connect because I have like my backtracks connected, so I can't just like whatever it is has to be plugged into our mixer,
right?
Or I will lose all my shit. And I just remember blacking out, like, and then somehow ending up with like a stage mic, some shitty stage mic that they had just plugged into our rig. And I was like, and I was just outstanding. Like, yeah, well, not hardwired, but they just kind of like manually plugged it in. And it was just because I couldn't get mine to work and like nothing was working. And then like we had an XLR cable that for a backup mic, if that happened and that one wasn't working. So it was like, yeah, it was a whole thing. And like, we're like the intro's playing, I feel like, and then I just remember waking up and I'm like on the speaker, like out beyond the barricade, just doing vocals. And I somehow just like, they gave me the mic and I just blacked out and went out and did the set. I got out there in time. It was fine. But that was pretty terrifying because it was such a, at the time, I mean, obviously it would be huge now because it's a lot of people in a big thing. But at the time it was like one of the first, except for Warped Tour, big festivals we played outside like that. And it was just, like you're on screen, like all this shit is happening like on TV screens, and I'm just like, this can't be this can't go this way, like it can't be happening, you know what I mean? But and that, like there was another time at the same festival where we first went out, we had we used to play our backtracks on like an iPod because we didn't have like the gear and the shit set up, and fucking like we're switching songs and we hear our guitarist like unplug the aux cord like through the festival speakers. Like, yeah, it's just, and I feel like if any band says they've never had anything like that happen to them, they're like bleaching their assholes and they're full of shit. Like,
I can tell you right now. So me and Mega Monster down there, we just covered Welcome to Rockville. So we were at Welcome to Rockville. There was probably at least 5 or 6 bands over. I know there's one band in particular. I think it was Seven Dust.
I'm sorry. It's so fucking weird that, as I have to say this, I was just for the first time in like 10 years just watching videos of Seven Dust today. Like it was just like I just randomly was like, I need to just
we need to reconnect
like
with
I just hear to like whatever you say, like, and then you were just like Seven Dust.
It was Seven Dust.
Weird. It was
the first 10 minutes of their set. Nothing.
What do you
mean?
No
mics. No, you
couldn't
hear a goddamn thing.
Raw.
They're up there
dry as fuck too.
Okay, do you guys want another horror story?
Go for it.
Sure.
Okay, this is that kind of podcast. All right, so okay,
anything goes. Honestly,
so we were playing. I don't remember. I think it was. I want to say it was. Rest in peace, by the way, Adam Ramey of Dropout Kings. Obviously, like, because that just happened. I'm sorry, but we were on tour with Dropout Kings at the time, and I believe it was Dropout Kings, and we were in Vermont, and we fucking had our backtracks going, and for whatever reason, the sound guy did not have the backtracks fed to the house, so we have them in our ears. So in our minds, this is like
great.
So like we're like walking out and we're like starting to play and it's all crazy, like, and we're hearing the synth and all the whatever crazy shit and we're going so hard and people in the crowd are like and we're like, so we played I think 2 songs before we realized our backtracks weren't playing. So we were missing like all the synth, all the effects, the second guitar, because we were using like one guitarist at the time. It was just like, and like I swear our drummer like was so mad that like when that shit gets brought up, I swear to God, he's gonna like he just goes full like Casey Affleck, like fucking Parliament's fucking because he's a masshole. He has like a thick mass accent. He's like fucking chimney doing this fucking shit again, kid. It's fucking embarrassing. Humiliating, like you know, he's like because he was like hiding behind a speaker, like waiting to hop out at the right time, and it was just like this whole awkward thing. It was just it's just like but like you think it's this huge epic thing because you're hearing all the backtracks and you're
so confident, and then it's
and
just
there's like and then there's just these dead spaces with chugs with no synth or anything like happening out there. But oh my, and it was just like I'm seeing people's faces and I don't know what the fuck is happening. Like, why do they look so confused? That was
there was a comment by Robbie Litchfield. He said, talk about the show in Dallas on this last tour with Michael tripping over the stage box.
Okay, so we were, if it's the show I'm thinking of, we were playing an outdoor stage when Jake Paul and Mike Tyson were fighting. It was like the place was packed out, right? So we had all these people were, you know, like shit faced and drinking. And I remember at one time, like, people were like gone and then out watching the show and then they're watching the fight and we're just like playing. But so we like I want to say it was the first song we were playing, High Guess Aus Morienti, I believe. If anyone's watching this and I'm wrong, I don't care. But we're playing, we're about to like get to the breakdown and then just like the laptop and everything and everything just shuts off. And we look over and Mikey's like standing there with a beer like next to all the cables, like, my bad, like, whoops, like he like just was like drunk and just like tripped over the cables and unplugged it. So I literally was like, no, guys, we're gonna everyone want to just redo the breakdown. And everyone's like, yeah. So we just like rewound the breakdown of the backtracks and like started it over and like redid the build up and everyone like cut loose. But that was pretty funny. I feel like there's another that might not even be the right time though, because now I'm thinking about it. I feel like Mikey fucked up something another night, but if that's in the comments, let me know.
Mikey, no.
I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking. I don't know if I don't remember. Sammy's the one who remembers every city. Like and like he's like, nah, like that city sucked. This city was dope in Alabama at that bar with the 5 guys, and like they bought us the sandwich, and then like remember that girl got the picture with the shirt. That place was dope. I don't remember like what venues in what city. I just remember like my friends I meet.
Yeah.
Like I lose track of that stuff, but he'll like I'll be like, oh yeah, this venue that I don't remember, and he's like, no, that one sucked because the bathroom locks were broken off, and like I'm like, how do you remember this shit? Like he doesn't remember anything else that's important. It's like, you know what I mean? But that's everyone in this band is such a fucking cartoon character. It's like the Ninja Turtles, but we need a 4th one, because like we have fill-ins, but we haven't inducted our next member yet into the final lineup. We don't want to be a 3-piece forever. It's just we have the soul of what makes the music and what makes everything run, and like we're kind of feeling out like it's so much. It's more than just a business. It's especially when you've been through a lot of hell, you need to know when you bring someone into the band that they are in it for all the reasons you're in it, and they're not going to like crack under pressure, because like I've never been under more pressure in my life than being a musician. You know what I mean? It's like I thought getting forced to go to college was the scariest shit ever. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like but yeah, it's like having like we wanna we want the like we're all about building a family, right? Like more people but it's like it's more than just finding someone who can play an instrument. It's finding someone who has good energy, who doesn't get like lash out and doesn't stress out and bring everyone down when something goes wrong, and someone who's going to pull their weight, and they're going to offer more than just playing an instrument, they can offer another skill that helps the band as a business, because we are a DIY band. And I think these are things that any band should think about regardless of who you are. It's like, especially if you're trying to be professional and have your money and your everything split up and have everything operate in a fair, honest, transparent way, everyone should be able to be like, this is what I bring to the table, because anybody can just show up and play bass for your show.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But if you want to have your name on it and get all of the glory and get to do all the shows and all the fun shit, but you don't want to have any of the sacrifice,
no,
you're a fill-in. That's
you gotta be where they fit.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Well, all right, CB, you're up on deck, brother.
And we love our fill-ins. Don't get me wrong. We have a lot of dope fill-ins. Actually, I want to shout out Joey Rome. I don't know if you guys have heard of In Memory, but they're a new band that just dropped. Yep. So, Justin, their vocalist, and Joey have both worked with me and Robbie on other musical stuff. But Joey was actually our fill-in bassist on one of our recent tours. That was his first time on tour, and it was super fun, and it was the best. It's just so cool seeing him just getting to do his own thing with his own band, after because when he got a taste of it on the road with us, I could tell that he was once you go home, it's like that when you go to have you ever been to a nerd convention or something like that? It's like as you go to anime convention, you get post-con depression, you get post-tour depression. It's the same thing.
Post festival.
Yeah,
I love fucking Rockville. I just want to go back.
I know you're like I remember I'd be I just played Warped Tour and I'm folding fucking shirts at Zoomies and some crackheads trying to pretend they're not stealing, and I'm just fuck my life. It's just I'm just how did I just go from thousands of screaming people or 100, whatever. There's some assholes oh, you said thousands. It's not 1,000. I meant 100, whatever. I'm sorry. But hundreds of people to just going back to being in this routine where you just daydream about the thing you were doing yesterday for months on end. That's what being home for me and Sammy is like. Robbie thrives in his studio. Even he's cracking now after all his time being iced. But he loves his dog in his studio. He wakes up, that he works like it's his best friend. He loves that shit. Me and Sammy come home and it's our cats and our girls and oh my god, the comforts, and it's awesome. And after a month you're just fuck, it's just I need something to explode in front of me, or some guy to start screaming at me or banging on the van window. I need just something I'm terrified of to happen.
Need some chaos.
That's what keeps that. Sylvester Stallone said this in his documentary, but he was you're gonna have these times where it's you doubt it and it's terrifying, but it's just get past it, because that's why you're addicted to it, is because it's terrifying, because it's it's scary, and it's Tor is living in RPG.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's you go from town to town and you find wares and places to stay, and you wear the same outfit every day, and no one questions why no one's bathing or using a bathroom. It's just like a video game. It's just collected 3 Gatorade bottles. You all peed, sick. Whatever. So
that's your achievement.
All right, CB, you're up.
Yeah, I can tell. Yeah, that's great. Let's go. More questions.
So, if you could choose between one or the other, you have to choose one. You have to give a reason why. Would it be skydiving or cave exploring?
Oh,
I think my kitten's trying to get into the room. Do you want me to stop and get her?
Yes.
All right,
yes. Yes. Sorry. But it'll be skydiving or cave exploring.
Lydia, in or out is your only shot.
Are
you okay? Where were you? Oh my god, she was on the door. She was on the shelf on the door and was climbing the fucking shelf. I'll be right back.
Wow.
Is she okay?
I love
that. That was nuts.
Oh my god.
No, she's good. She got she got her. I think her butt got pinched in the door because she had climbed the shelf on the door, and that's where I hurt the bell. No, she's good. So, anyways, I'm not gonna get the kitten. What were we talking about?
So you have one or two choices.
Oh yes,
and
that's
you have
right.
to say why.
Skydiving.
Why?
Because I mean, I've always wanted to fly, and I mean, if I die, you're gonna die instantly, and if you don't die, it'll be awesome. That's like kind of like, yeah. I mean, cave exploring. I'm like getting like anxiety just talking about it. Like
I know exactly what you mean.
I've seen videos of explorers like trapped, like barely able to breathe and move, or like what's that movie, The Descent?
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah, like, and also like it's just rock. Like just I'm not trying to be just like,
dude, I'm getting anxiety
around it anywhere, but I know it's like it makes me like start breathing heavy.
See, my biggest thing with all that is that these guys say I can't fit through here. Let me take my helmet off first, and then I'll squeeze through the other side. I mean, you got to be kidding me! You're going to take that thing off that could save your life because you need to get.
This sounds very specific, though. What do you? Is this from a movie? Like,
it's just cave exploring in general. You see some of those narrow spaces they go through.
Oh, I'm saying, are you saying in real life people take their helmets off like regularly?
They'll take their backpacks off and shove them through.
Oh yeah, that's terrifying. I mean, I guess like if they're trained at what they're doing, I'm not going to speak on that because like I don't know, but I'm not like, I'm a big like, I kind of keep my purse like under my arm on tour, right? I got like, I know where all my shit is, right? You know, I have like, I know exactly where all my items in the van are. I have all the essentials on me and exactly where I remember they are, because there's nothing more terrifying than thinking you left like your ID or your card in another state or that kind of shit. I'm not throwing my bag anywhere I can't see it, like unless it's, you know, locked, you know, safe in the green room or in the van, like let alone in a cave. That's terrifying. Like, how do you know it's not like a ravine or a drop or like? And why do you want to know? It's whatever. More power to you. Like, you know what I mean? There's some things I don't want to find out. Like what's on the bottom of the ocean, you know?
Yeah, agreed. All right, Mosh, you're up on deck.
All right. So since we already know you are a Star Wars fan, Jedi or Sith?
Oh God, do you really want to have this conversation with me?
We are going to have this conversation.
Here we go. We just extended the podcast by another 45 minutes.
So yeah. Do we have a time limit here?
No.
Who just was like, no? That reminded me of Forgetting Sarah Marshall, where he's like, she's better than Liz, and he's like, you really want to do this? And he's like, yes. Like, just like, you know, whatever. Okay, so here's my take. The Jedi as a philosophy is something I would probably attempt to follow at maybe at the level that Luke or the Jedi who came after the fall of the Empire would. As far as the traditional teachings, the Jedi were kind of like claustrophobic jerks. And the more you go back to it, you can kind of see how it's like they had rules that they only enacted when it was convenient. Like the whole not being able to have relationships thing didn't even happen until a couple of 100 years before like Anakin was a Jedi, which is interesting to think about. But if you watched Acolyte, you kind of see why they were like, maybe we shouldn't have relationships because they make people crazy when they're evil or they touch the dark side. But as far as the Sith goes, the actual mantra of the Sith is essentially you kind of have to be like a power-hungry sociopath who doesn't care who you hurt and what happens to get what you want, right? But at the same time, like I would never, if I've tried to dabble in the Force, I would absolutely succumb to the dark side at some level. So I definitely, and I've taken personality tests for lightsaber kyber crystal colors, in case anyone's wondering. And it was exactly what I knew it was, but which is orange. So orange is basically like if you saw, they kind of represented it on Mandalorian with Balin's skull and Shin Heidi, but the reason their sabers aren't really red is like a righteous anger. You might burn your crystal or bleed it, but you're not really a full Sith. You're not fully evil, but you might be a dark Jedi or a gray Jedi. So it didn't really go all the way red, but you're kind of willing to go a couple steps this way or that way. Mace Windu was like 2 seconds from being Sith all the time. Like that guy was a puckered up asshole to begin with, but then he did.
I got purple lightsaber when I.
So what that means is it's kind of like there are Sith who have had purple lightsabers.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Darth
Bane, Darth Revan. I forget her name, but she was in the Coder too, with she had like the 3 purple sabers. But anyways,
that was shit. Fucking goddamn it!
But usually implies that there's some level of like balance with the dark or an aggression. So the pod, which is like the saber style that Mace Windu uses, is like almost a forbidden style, and he's the only. I think he's the only one in the Jedi Order who uses it. But basically, you have to basically tap into your dark side.
Darth Traya.
Darth Traya. The 3 lightsabers, yes, thank you. You have to basically, it's almost like you mirror their dark energy and make a loop where you're feeding back their energy against them, but it brings you so close to the dark side that no one's really allowed to do it. So it's like, so I'd probably be like a dark Jedi. Like I like to think myself as like Chimere from Acolyte, like a dark side practitioner, but like, where Kylo Ren was trying so hard because it's like, well, I can't live with what I've done because I have a conscience. He was trying so hard to be evil that he tried to push all the way. Where like Chimere's kind of like there's nuance. There's good, there's emotion, it's fine. Like it's like I'm not really evil, but the Jedi threaten my existence, so I have no choice. I have to kill them. It's not like I'm like hunting them. Like I think there's probably some middle ground there. But yeah, you asked.
I'm a huge Darth Revan fan. Huge Darth Revan fan. So I was big on Revan. I was big on Ahsoka, because she's kind of like teeters the line of being a gray Jedi.
No, I absolutely think that she's like the only current canon version of a gray Jedi that we really have, actually. Like, right. I'd say as far as current canon goes, you're absolutely right. She's the archetype for what we now know as what a gray Jedi is, and like also the thought process it takes to become one, right? Like you can abandon the Jedi Order and not just become a Sith, and I think that amount of nuance within the Force is what makes like all the generations of the stuff and the books so entertaining and intriguing. Is it's not black and white, so like, and I think that's really cool because nothing is black and white, right? Right. And it's just like The Last of Us. You start out thinking you're the hero and you're the villain. Like it's like look at Anakin or and then like even an Acolyte, when she gets kidnapped by Chimera and she's at the thing and you're like in his hut and he's kind of just talking about and explaining his shit. You're kind of like, well, yeah, I could see how you might be radicalized after your master scarred you. Like, you know what I mean?
Like, I heard there was a saying in Batman that I read in a Batman comic, where Bruce Wayne had said, you either live long enough to die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
It was Aaron Eckhart's Harvey Dent, Two-Face. Yeah. Yep. I was trying to say Two-Face, but my brain was like, say the actor first, then the character. And
it's true. Like, either you die early enough to be held a hero or you see yourself long enough to become the villain.
Yeah, and it's funny you say that because it's like when you look at the dichotomy, my brain immediately goes to the argument someone would make, which they'd be like, well, Anakin and Obi-Wan. I'm like, yeah, but if you look at really what happened to Obi-Wan, it might not be what your idea of a villain is, but I think to some end he probably became his own villain in his own story because he lost hope.
He felt like,
you know what I mean?
Darth Vader.
He failed. He lost hope. Like he was like, he didn't. When you stop believing in yourself, you are your own villain. It's like that's a lot of what our new album was kind of about. Is like self-actualization, right? Yeah,
you're always your worst enemy. You're always your biggest critic.
Bro, I don't want to get into that conversation, like, because like our guitarist is the like most talented person I've ever worked with, like raw power in my life, just raw ability. And it's like the dude could literally like break a world record, and then I'd get a text at 3 a.m. that's just like, yeah, man, that record sucks, bro. Could have done better. I can't do this. And I'm like, bro, like it's just like I can't tell you you're awesome anymore. Like you gotta just believe it. Like, you know what I mean? And some people like, and I think that's like a great factor to have as an artist, but it can be your worst, it makes you your worst enemy, and not in a good way. Because when you second guess everything you do, you end up like knocking your best work off the table into the trash can by accident.
Yeah.
Right.
Because you can't be your own audience. You have to make what your audience, you have to like trust your craft and what you're good at. And you might not get it, but someone will, and someone needs it, even if you don't. Right? I don't know how to explain that more than that, but like that's kind of like philosophically, like I try to think of it like Johnny Depp like once said he like never watches his own movies. Like he's like, oh, it's not for me anymore, it's for everybody else. And like
I get that.
I'm guilty as fuck of listening to my own music, but at some level you kind of get to a point where you kind of stop. I used to be that person who was constantly listening to my own shit to compare it to everything else, and I wanted it to be as good as I want it to be.
Yeah.
And now I just kind of am starting to care less, where it's kind of like it just needs to be what it needs to be for Saving Vice to keep being Saving Vice.
Right.
I don't have to get it or listen to it like necessarily. I just have to know I did my process and put everything into it. Sometimes it comes out where I'm like, yeah, this is objectively awesome, and it's not my favorite song, but I believe in it anyways, because it might be a little more of Robbie's style than mine. And I'm not saying I don't like any of her songs, but I'm saying in that scenario, you learn to like make peace with decisions that aren't your favorite decision, because it might be someone else's favorite thing about the song.
Correct. All right, CB, you're up on deck, brother.
All right. So for some of the upcoming bands, some of the bands that are just now getting started, what is some starter information that you would like to share with them?
Jesus, I don't know how to condense that. It's just like Robbie and I get paid to do shit like this, so I'm trying to like condense it into like, it's like, what's some basic shit? Okay. If you consider yourself a professional band, those rules are going to be different than if you're a local hero band, and you can be both. But like what you said earlier, you live long enough to be the hero until you see yourself the villain. And that's how it's going to happen. If your band does pop up finally, anyone who doesn't get carried along with you is going to become your hater. That's just how it works. So you kind of have to accept very early on that your local scene is not your audience or your friends. They're just colleagues and work friends that maybe you build friendships out of. But a lot of people aren't really your friend. Yeah. It sucks to hear, but it's better to go in being a little guarded than to be like me or a lot of bands get taken advantage of early on. So not to disparage anyone's attitude or view on, things, but like the higher you go and the farther you go, the more you start to resent things about any industry, I feel like, right? And the best way to insulate yourself from that is to surround yourself with the right people from the beginning, even if they're not the biggest, fanciest people who have the most connections, but they're the people who are going to be there when you're doing nothing, like when you're blowing up, when you're canceled, when you're not canceled, when you're successful, when you're not successful, whatever, right? Like those people who are there for you, who show up to the shows, who are like telling you to keep going when the fair weather people fuck off. Those are the people that matter. And, I'm not like, that's been like the blood of SV, but I have like so much of an even greater appreciation for it now after kind of all the things I've seen and experienced. But, go early, stay late, meet everyone. Like you might have bigger aspirations or plans, but no one's bigger than anyone, right? It's like, it's a group effort. It's like you beat the industry by being a team. Like if you can build a huge tour of a bunch of bands that are all friends that work together, that have huge draw, like you don't need a label. You can just build that tour and go kill shows. But if everyone's trying to be the cool headliner in the scene, who's trying to like, it's like, I know this is a weird reference, but it's like playing Battlefront 2, Star Wars Battlefront 2 online. If you're that asshole who just like gets kills and doesn't play the objective and just sits there and waits for one of the Jedi to get unclaimed so they can respawn as a Jedi so they can play as a Jedi instead of playing the objective and helping the whole team win, not only are you a piece of shit, but everyone's gonna lose. It's the same thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
I agree. All right, Mosh, you're up on deck.
All right, so you have been given superpowers. What are those?
I know that. Oh wait. This is a hypothetical.
He's like, how did you know?
What are those powers? And are you a hero or a villain?
So this is God. Stop asking me questions with no end. All right. So it's hard because I'm literally making my own superheroes and like making comics. So it's like I have a couple options. If I could really pick any power, I'd probably just be a speedster. I already am, as far as a human mortal can be one, I think, with my physical and mental shit. So it's like I've kind of come to realize that I move faster than I think I do. From like just weird shit and then training shit and then underestimating myself and weird stuff, but like also my impatience where it's like I feel like everything around me is happening at 3 times speed all the time. Like my brain's moving faster than the world is moving and it's driving me crazy. So I feel like super speed will help me balance it out and I could fucking just like, and there's so many applications of super speed too, especially if you're thinking like, and I'm going with Flash universe super speed. So it's like, I can time travel. I can phase through matter. I can basically like vibrate myself to the point where I can just like destroy someone by vibrating my fist through their molecules. Like it's sick. I feel like the Flash is the best thing you could be next to Green Lantern or Superman, if you think about it. But I think this the ability to go whenever I want, to be somewhere without having to put in the effort of putting pants on and driving there at a most selfish level would be enough. Like just the idea that I could be like, oh man, I could go to that party, but I have to drive home at like where I'm at. Boom, I can do anything. Like, you know what I mean? But it's like that's how. So if I had no aspirations, but I would totally be a hero. I want to be a hero now. Like I'm that dipshit who like. Everyone would be like, stay out of it. And like, I'd be like rushing down the alley, like looking for a pipe to just like jump the dude and get my rocks off on stopping some injustice in the fucking world I can't control. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I actually, our song Year of the Snake, I quoted Batman to a degree. It's funny because you said the Batman quote, but it won't make sense in the end unless you force it to. But that whole like the world doesn't make sense unless you force it to. I feel that way about the industry as well as the world. And in the song, that's kind of the DIY mantra. It's kind of, I'll give you that little tease, but that line is it's like not only politics, the world, whatever my opinions are, but it's that nothing about this fucking scene or industry has made sense. And it's like, no matter if we did everything right, everything stacked and fell against us anyways. So we realized that it was never going to make sense unless we physically just built our own team where we have control of literally fucking everything. And then now when anybody else gets in our way, we can just step over them. So you like force the world to make sense. It's like sometimes you have to fucking like beat its face in to do that. But it's, at the end of the day, if they're not with you, and they're not going to get out of your way, they're against you.
Yeah.
Like, it's like they can be not with you, but still stand in your way. And people pretend that they aren't doing that every fucking day in the scene. But if anyone's watching this, they know exactly what they're doing. And you know exactly who I'm talking about. They're walling you off on purpose. They think they're really cool and they don't need to respond to you. Like, they're the cool guy. They're the next band. Yeah, no, it's not shots fired because it would be there's no gun that can shoot that many people at once.
Oh, damn.
Lasers fired.
Yeah. So, but yeah, like we all know who you are. We all see you. Like, just Stop. Let's all be friends. Everybody love everybody.
Everybody love everybody. Yes.
That's why I yell to my cats. When my cats are fighting, I'm like, hey.
I say that all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
But no, it's a total like there's such this fucking like I'm gonna support this person and comment them until they start to get bigger than me, and now I'm just gonna quietly watch everything, but not try to support them because I don't want to push their needle farther than mine. It's just like
for real.
Fuck you.
For
like
real.
we all it's so obvious, and it's
when
like that's why you can tell. Well, that's where you separate the professionals from the locals, right?
Right.
The locals are climbing over themselves in the petri dish that is their scene. Well, the real bands are looking outwards. Like, and you have to think bigger than that. Like, step over it. And I'm not trying to like give us our playbook, but we just stepped over our local scene, played every other state, and then came back and just sold out the biggest venue with our album release without ever doing, you know what I mean? Like, okay,
right.
you're not. We got big enough where the local hater promoters had no fucking say anymore. So that's what you could do. You go places where there's no bias, which is everywhere else but your local scene, where people just want to hang out, and then you get a high, and then you come back, and then like business takes over. They're like, yeah, you have these numbers, you can play. You don't have to like suck the dick of like the asshole who's been in his mom's basement booking shows for 40 years and never gonna break. Like, it's like, I'm sorry, but it's the fucking truth. Every local scene has one. Everyone watching this is like, fucking, I hate Kevin, like whatever, you know. It's like it's just like it's true.
I feel that.
And if you're called out by this, get good. I don't know, here's your chance to reform. Like, you know, everyone's willing to do the work, but you can't just like sit and collect.
Local assholes.
Yeah, like you got touring bands who like show up to a place early and like or exactly on time and waiting in the parking lot. No one can take a shit because the dude was hungover and shows up like right before fucking doors to let everyone load in. It's just like, it's like landlords who don't really landlord. It's like my landlord's the shit. Like if like this knob breaks right now, I just pull out my phone and he's like out there fixing it. Like that's a landlord, you know what I mean? That's why I live in an apartment, is because I don't want to fix shit when it breaks, and I don't want it to be my problem. Like, I don't pay for repairs. It's sick, right? So, but it's like you got to do your job, and it's the same thing with like, you know, everyone has a key part, but I think some people get complacent, or they think if someone can't give me something, I'm not going to put as much effort into it, and that shit has ripples. Whether it's anyone else wants to work with you again, or if they want to work with you again. It's like my dad told me when I was a kid, when I was trying to get a job and I hated my first job so much, and he was like, if you have to fucking sweep wood chips, you give it 100% at sweeping the fucking wood chips, and you'll get the next job.
Yep.
You know, and that's what you got to do. You got to just, you know, it's like people who they'd rather leech off. Like, I hate these musicians who leech off everyone they know instead of just like working or getting a side job because they're too afraid of being seen with a job, because they actually think they're that cool already. Rappers, I'm sorry guys, but you're the worst at this. Like, by far. Like, I won't test you. It's like yeah, you give me a discount. I'm like, did you not just like go on your phone and talk about how balling you are and you're begging for a discount at the fucking mall? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like, just everyone needs to help and support everyone, because everyone has a skill you don't have. There might be some fucking dork in the corner with a bow tie who can make you the best music video ever, but he's just not an edgy scene dude. Like, if someone hits you up with an opportunity, don't shun them because of how they look, or you never know. Like, some of the best people we worked with were people where we were the first person to give them a chance, because we were that band that no one gave us a chance, you know. And paying that forward, especially when I was out of Saving Vice for a bit, when I thought I was quitting, like my vocal students and all that stuff, it was like, I didn't really feel, granted, I think there's a mental block where you kind of like convince yourself you don't miss something, but I was fulfilled, like getting to give all of that knowledge and success, and like kind of, it's like I got to live vicariously through them. And I think that's like kind of like Star Wars, right? It's like what being a master is all about, or a teacher is all about, right? We are, what is it? We are what they survive or what they live to become, or something. I can't remember what Yoda said in the movie, but he's like, we are what they live beyond us, or something. But like that mantra really helped me come to peace with giving up on my dream at the time, because I thought I had to. And I found that was like a solace in getting to give it to other people. Well, I was lucky enough that we had this like turnaround comeback thing, and now we're kind of like coming back new. But like that was a really a dark time for me that turned into a very like empowering time, because I realized that I could be fulfilled without this addiction to the music thing. Now, I'm not saying I'm not still addicted to it, like, but I relapsed because I wanted to. Right, like it's like, you know, so it's like that's kind of like how it feels.
That's so bad.
Like, but I'm doing this band thing on my terms, and I can quit anytime I want.
Yeah, okay.
Like, yeah, for sure.
All right.
Like, I don't need to play shows. I can stop tomorrow.
No, okay.
yeah. But it's like that's I think that's why I love the personification of the dark side of the Sith. Like that was a huge theme for our last album. Like I was even dressed like a Sith on tour. I had like the contacts and everything. That's like the whole theme. Like even our snake, if you look, the snake has dark side Sith eyes on the artwork for the new song. But that was like that pull. Like when I was at my worst place, when I wanted to there was a time where I was like, I could just put a fucking ski mask on and just end all of this once and for all. Like, and I was like, that's not what you want to do. Like, that's what Anakin would do to the other thing. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's just like, I was like, well, hey, like they've already taken everything from me. What's left? Like, it's like, that's how they win, is when you feel like you have nothing left, you know? So I think that pull to the dark side and that balance of like having a power and an urge, but being able to control that power instead of exacting it on whoever you want emotionally, like a child, I feel like is very, it made me feel a lot of solace and calm, I guess, if that makes sense. Like, and writing the songs gave me the outlet of imagining I was fulfilling these like revenges and this sadness and this anger. I got to put it into the lyrics, and that's what songs and lyrics have always been for me. And that's like the reason I joined Saving Vice to begin with, was I had written all of these words that felt like they were trapped in me that were never going to get out unless I got in a band and wrote them and like recorded them. Right. So a lot of like, actually some of our earliest stuff was lyrics from my old band where the album never really got released. But some were picked, like some of it meant too much to me to like just be like, well, it's done. You know, like I stole my own words back and kind of ingrained them, because everything's like either a slam poem or like my lyrics are derived from either a story or a plot or a wider web of like the SV lore, or maybe it's just like I was watching a movie and there was like a really moving scene and a really moving quote, and I just wrote that down. And sometimes I'll just write a whole song out of that one quote and like what it means to me. So, but without that outlet, I felt like, and then this makes me think of a lot of people who don't get therapy, who do like really crazy destructive things to themselves or other people, is like they just don't have a way to release this thing. Like, and for me it was like when I didn't have the band, it became the martial arts. Like I got like addicted, like 6-7 days a week, training for 3 hours a day, like a different weapon art every day, because like that feeling of like, this is this other thing I loved that I never pursued, and this empowerment was the only thing that made me not miss the feeling of being on stage and doing the band shit. It's like, it's kind of, and I think Oliver Sykes said something like when he got really into working out when he was an addict, he thought he was cured, but he just got addicted to working out.
Yep. You just get another addiction.
Yeah, like I overtrained to the point where I hurt myself. And then I couldn't. And then I went into a worse place and like relapsed into like day drinking and bad habits. Cause then I find whenever you're physically not moving, your brain will regress to dark places. Like that's an absolute fact I've learned, is like
100%.
Sitting is the new cigarettes. Like sitting down is cancer. Like I try to squat or crouch or move or jump or like do any motion except this. Like that I possibly can now, you know what I mean? Because I'm like, it's like, it sucks when you're driving for 7 hours in the van and you're like you were sitting at home at your computer with this horrible posture and breathing like shit and like you're all broken. And I've learned a lot from being a vocalist and a performer and from doing martial arts. And I use that martial arts stuff to teach my vocal students. So a lot of my vocal lessons end up being like physical things about breathing and posture and how to like not break your legs doing crazy shit on stage and how to move and still breathe and like physicality of it. And because it helped me. So I that's why my like vocal thing is called the Vocal Dojo. So I have like this whole chat and like a group. And
what
like
gets me about, because I'm a vocalist in a couple of bands, so
I did not know that. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay. So what blew my mind was how much of a mind game it is with yourself to be able to sing. It's like the way that you think about getting the vocals out. It's not about like you have to make sure you have the muscles right. It's all about how you mentally approach the note.
Yes, that's why I am able to connect it. Like when I have someone who can't like, they can't stop pushing with their chest voice, like or something, or they're like, huh. I'm like, okay, well you have to think like, you don't want to, huh. You want to, so you want to, you want to shoot it. Use your face muscles to shoot it, and it's effortless. Like I would say singing should not feel like a strained chore. It should feel like you sigh in relief and then add your words as you go, like so. And martial arts is the same way. Like people come at fighting like this tough guy, like this thing. It's like and what I've learned is like what I thought was minimal training, where I did no strength training, where I thought I wasn't strong, right? And then you accidentally like flick your arm or you're like breaking shit or cracking stuff, because it's not about muscle or mass. It's about like energy and breath. And vocals are the same way. People think vocals are about straining or pushing, but they're not. No. It's about breathing and then funneling the air into the sound you want, right? And it's like the same thing with like Tai Chi, or like I use Tai Chi stuff to like teach people to try to like drop the tension out of their bodies so they can just hollow their skull and you know what I mean? Just vibrate, right? Like singing should be like, you should be able to like sit paralyzed and be like you don't have to like strain or use your body. And it's like Kung Fu. It's the same thing. It's like, it's not about your hands. It's about training your elbows and your shoulders to project your hands, right? It's the same thing as like, you're pushing the air through your face. It's kind of like breathing through a dinosaur skull. And it makes a cry. The shape of your skull changes your cry. That's how I teach people. So if you change it, like if you go, hey, what's up? Tell me, princess, when did you last let your heart decide? You have to change the shape of your face, right? To change the sound. So it's like you can be like, young, but if your face, you will, I always tell my students, you will sound as boring as you look.
Right.
Like, I set fire to the rain, right? Instead of like, I set fire to the rain, right? You got to use your whole, it's like an actor. They talk with their upper lip, not their bottom jaw.
Right.
Like they're like, oh, they're not like, blah, 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 right? That's how I teach people is like, this is just like your slop bucket. Like shut this off and articulate, like put emotion into it, you know? And that's why people who are bad at lip syncing look so stupid, because they're not using the muscle function that elicits sounds.
Right.
So they're making a sound that's impossible to make without making a face, but they're like it's like, that's how you know someone isn't really a singer, because they don't know what singing looks or feels like. Because there's muscles here. Like some of the biggest walls people have that I work with is they can't like scrunch their eyelids. It's crazy.
The mask.
They can't like
focusing all this.
I call it the mask. Yeah,
that's what it is.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so glad I'm not crazy. I thought I made that up. I call it the butterfly mask because it looks like a butterfly.
No, I'm trained with an opera singer, and
That's so cool.
It's actually a term. All of this. It's a mask.
Yeah, you have to like activate it, and like people try to sing through like they're dribbling out of their mouth like they're barfing, but you have to like, it's kind of like, by the way, You have to set the emotion in your face first, like, and then this funnels the sound is how I think of it. How I try to, yeah. So I don't know, but not to get too. And we're not doing a vocal lesson.
I know we could go on.
So on that, we have ran over time. So before y'all go,
that is my MO. I have never done an interview that did not run over time.
Hey, it's no problem. But we actually have a video to show y'all from Saving Vice. So check out their video.
Go.
Please go follow them on all their social media accounts. If you can go catch a show, please go fucking catch a show. Go buy some merch. Support these guys. And on that, you know how we do it. Please be good to each other. Don't drink and drive. Wrap your tool. Don't do stupid shit. We will be back tomorrow night with another fucking band. And until then, check out their video. Tyler, you stay put. We'll see you after the show.
One more thing. Also, post your metal pet pictures. We're running a contest right now. We've got 6 days left. I want to see your.
Give me those deets after this because I'll probably have a lot.
I sure will. I've got a post going that I'll share, and I want to see y'all's pet pictures.
Let's go. Oh yeah, we all got pets, so we can do that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Fear's the mind killer. Fear is the little death that brings obliteration. So close to the sun, like an entire light. Breathing the sulfur, the symptoms distant. You'll never be from the twilight of the sky. You'll understand what his body is to be a man. Blood on his hands, no will to dance. Another way for loneliness. Been in it for a minute, trying to fight it off. Depressed conflict, sucked from our memory. Breathe it back into the syntax. I don't know yourself.